Morning.
Interesting name jumps out from that press in your squad. Ben Woodburn, 17 years old, only a handful of games. What are your thoughts? Is he there? Is he likely to play, or is he along for the ride?
Well, I don't think, in terms of who's playing and who's not, I think, that'll be for next week. But he certainly, he's done some good things at Liverpool. He's been in our system since he was 13, so whilst everybody was getting excited when he burst on the scene at Liverpool 6 months ago maybe, or a bit before that, people start saying, you need to take a look at Ben Woodburn. We've been looking at Ben Woodburn since he was 13. He's been in our system for 5 years, so we know all about him. But he's done well this season. And himself, Tom Lawrence and Tom Bradshaw, these are the boys, they're knocking on the door, and they deserve a chance. So, he's there on merit, and we're looking forward to having him on board with us.
Is there any impulse on your part to cap him now, because he does have this dual qualification?
No, absolutely not. If I feel a need that if he doesn't start, and I feel a need that I need to make a change in the game and he needs to come on for tactical reasons, then that's what will happen. But it won't be because I'm worried about anybody else looking at Ben. We see Ben as an international player for Wales. He has been since he's a young boy, and we expect him to be going forward. We think he's got a good future with us. But no, there won't be any knee-jerk reaction to cap him, no.
What is it about his game that you feel is suited for international football, even at the age of 17? Well,
I think if you think he's playing for Liverpool in the Premier League, or on the peripheries in the squad, he's every day he's training with international players. So I think technically he's very good, obviously, he's performing with one of the biggest clubs in football, and he's on the periphery of the squad. He's had a bit of game time, so I think it's we always say that the players who play in the Premier League or at the top level, domestic football, the transition then into international football is a smoother one. So he won't be daunted by coming with us. He's playing with international players every day at Liverpool, at one of the biggest clubs. So it won't be a problem for Ben.
You've got other young players in there as well, Tom Bradshaw, Tom Lawrence. Did you feel there was a need for some freshening up?
They've earned. People are going to look at it that way, but I look at it and say, right, who's doing well? Who's on the front foot? And that's football, We've not been together for 4 or 5 months. 2 or 3 months ago, maybe this squad would have been different that I picked. I look at the players now, see who's on the front foot, who's looking good, who's ready, and that's why I picked the squad I have. You always try to pick the stronger squad. Obviously, every manager does that, and this one's no different. I think the squad I've picked are the players who I think are going to be most ready for this challenge.
Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, both coming back after injuries. Firstly, Gareth, how have you assessed and what have you learned about his fitness since the ankle injury?
I went to see him, I think 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. He's fit, he's in good form, and he looked good in training. He's had game time obviously since then, so nothing I'm learning really about Bale that I don't already know. No, I'm looking forward to getting him back into the squad and working with him again. The same with Rambo. And I always said before, these are players that would grace any team. It's just we're lucky, I suppose, that they're Welsh, and they're so passionate as well about playing for Wales at the same time. So I'm just looking forward to working with them.
Is Gareth likely to play one more game before he
That'll be up to Zinedine Zidane, So I can't tell him who to pick and who not to pick. Sitting here, it'd probably suit me. If he doesn't play, then we know we're definitely getting Gareth Bale. But in fairness to Real Madrid, they've been fantastic to work with. Never ever put an obstacle in our way, and I don't see there being a problem there.
And Aaron?
Rambo, fine. Yeah, spoke to him last month. Feels good. He's had game time since then also. So again, looking forward to getting Rambo back into it with us. I think in these first 4 games we've only had Aaron in one of them. That's tough for us. When you had Joe Allen for two of them, 2 and a bit. So, you know, we are a very, very good team when we're at our best and at our strongest. But we need these players on the pitch, and we need them consistently. So, but at the minute, as I sit here, touch wood, we're in pretty good condition.
Just lastly from me, Chris, a bit wider afield. It looks like another Premier League manager has lost his job this morning, Karanka at Middlesbrough. What does that say to you about the shelf life of Premier League managers compared to international managers in your position?
There's no surprises. I think football's football. I think he's a good manager. He's taken Middlesbrough back to the promised land. And it goes to show you, the Championship and the Premier League are so far apart in terms of the level. But he's done a good job there. Football being football, we see it all the time. Managers lose it, just in the Premier League, if you're flirting with the bottom 3 this time of the season. So it's no surprise, because that's what the industry is like. I feel sorry for him. I think he's a good manager. But there's no surprise now.
Morning, Chris.
Morning.
You said that you didn't pick Woodburn just to cap him, to keep him out of the clutches of others, but you were aware that there was interest from England in him. Did he take any convincing to become a Wales international? I know he's come up through the age group, but he's dual eligible.
If Ben wanted to go and play for England, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Simple as that. Because none of our players belong to us. They're not contracted to Wales, They're contracted to their clubs. So if that's what Ben wanted to do, and that's, then there's nothing we can do. But because he burst on the scene with Liverpool, he was in the squad, and then he scored on his debut at Anfield, and everybody starts getting excited. It makes me laugh, I'm thinking, don't tell me about this kid I've been looking at for 5 years. He's been in our system. We know all about Ben. We know he's a good player. I can't, we can't start going, well, we got to get him in, and that puts that. It's not the way to do it. He's earned this call-up because he's done very well. He's earned it. And if I thought it was too early for him, I wouldn't call him up, because this game is massive for us. I'm not thinking about, all due respect to Ben, this is a good game for me to get Ben Woodburn, and I'm thinking about what's the best squad I can get together to meet this next challenge, because it's a big one. And he's done enough. He's earned his place with us. And as I see, he's a Welsh international. He hasn't played for England or Scotland, or he's played for Wales since a young boy. So it's just that natural progression, and that's how I see it.
So you didn't have to convince him, that's what I mean?
No.
There was no hesitation?
No.
Because you can understand pressures maybe from elsewhere to, well, hang on, you might be good enough for England, you are also qualified.
Well, look, England, they've already stolen my goalkeeping coach in Martin Marguson, right? So there's a pattern emerging. We can see that. No, I don't. Like I said, we can't. There's nothing we can do. And we can sit down as much as we like with Ben or players like Ben and the families and say, come and play for Wales, this, that, and the other. Ultimately, they'll make their own mind up. And of course, I speak to the parents with the players like Ben that we're tracking through our system. We go, right, these have got, Nathan Ampadu and Tyler Roberts and players like that. Yeah, when you sit down and speak to their parents and say, look, they're doing well. This is the pathway. This is what's expected. This is what we provide. But that's just, any international manager worth his salt does that. That's nothing special from me. And Ben has been no different, And Osh Roberts is, because of his experience with the younger boys, and he's still with the 16s. Osh has had his finger on the pulse there anyway. So it wasn't us that we weren't getting excited about Ben. We already knew about Ben. It was other people. And we can't control that. We can only control how we work, how we deal with things, how we look at things, and we stick to that.
But it's encouraging that group have come through. You mentioned Ethan Ampadu, those sort of players. It's a good sign for the future.
Of course it is. Yeah, without these younger players coming through, where's Welsh football going to be in 10 years' time? they're so, they're the blood, aren't they? They're the lifeblood of the nation. And that's why it's so important to build on what's been achieved so far. And we're only going to keep producing good young players by improving facilities and improving the coaches that work with the young players. And all of us improving as coaches, because it's up to us to coach the kids. And that's what we need to build on. So these young players who have come through, it's not a coincidence. It's because for some years now, the coach education in Wales has been very good. We're trying to improve it still, because everything can improve. But it's not a coincidence, that these good young players have started to surface.
With your selection, particularly of the strikers, with Tom Bradshaw in there as well, have you gone for almost as many goals as you can muster in the squad?
Honestly, Rob, I just getting round looking at all the players and saying, right, who's ready? Who at the minute's looking good? And Tom's been with us before, and he impressed me, Tom. And I've watched him quite a few times with Barnsley. He's been playing and doing very well there. Also, Marley Watkins been doing very well at Barnsley. He's impressed me. And he's just missed out, but he's on standby, Marley. And I like Tom's attitude, especially when he's been in the squad as well. He's really gone into the training, very serious, not... sometimes you bring players in and they can feel a little bit out of their depth, and that wasn't the case with Tom. He's very confident and he's done very well. So, like I said earlier, these players have earned a call-up to play for this national team in one of the biggest games that we're going to have in this campaign. And it's a huge challenge, but I haven't looked at the squad and thought, this is definitely not a time when I wanted to experiment. I just picked the best players I think that are ready for this challenge.
No Paul Durrant?
No, he's got a problem, Paul, with his heel. He's played with an injection last week. He probably, if he plays this weekend, he'll have another injection. So, no, he needs a rest. And in fairness to Paul, he hasn't been starting for us. He has been very patient, and it's hard international football. But no, he's not going to be. It's a good time for Paul to get a rest. I think if we would have been bare in defensively, then at a push, we could have spoken to Newcastle and brought Paul along, but we don't need to do that. So he's going to get a rest.
And the last game, Ashley Williams, Joe Allen, Joe Ledley and Gareth Bale all picked up yellow cards. How aware do they have to be? And looking at why Gareth is sat on the side at the moment, he cannot afford to one of those moments again, can he?
We need to take care of this next challenge, and if we go into it thinking we can only be 75 or 80% because just in case we get a book and we miss the next game, forget it. The next game won't count anyway. It's all about this one, and they've got to go into it like they always go into it. Put out, empty, don't leave anything back. Whatever comes out in terms of the result, whatever happens, happens. But whoever's on the yellow card, whoever's starting, 100% into it, take care of this challenge, and we worry about the next one after this one's finished.
It seemed a really uncharacteristic thing for him to do, didn't it?
For Baylor?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. I don't know whether something was said. I think if you look at his record, it's it's fantastic, really. I think maybe goes to show that he's a human being after all, and sometimes we forget that.
You said it's a massive game. You're talking two pivotal games now, aren't you? Do you accept you probably need 4 points from the next two to keep in contention?
I think people will look at it and, this will be the halfway mark through the campaign. And we learned from the last campaign when we said halfway we need to be in touch with distance. We still are. People will look at this and go, this is do or die. I don't see that. All I see is huge challenge, great game for us. We've always wanted to be involved with games like this where the pressure's on for all the right reasons. It means we're competing at the right end of the group as opposed to halfway into it competing for nothing really. We're competing for pride, and that's not the case. We can't control how the game is built by everybody else, and I know it wants everybody to sensationalise it, it's the last chance, this, that and the other, and I don't see that. We'll be preparing like we've always prepared. We're playing for Wales And what we don't want to do is walk off the Aviva pitch missing the occasion, missing that 90 minutes. That's the biggest sin that we can commit, is missing it. We kind of did that against England, because it was a British game, it was a derby game. We got caught up with that, and we never performed, and we missed it. And we can't go and get that game back. It's finished. So we don't want to make that mistake. We can't really start. Once we start talking about points and the result, that's for everybody else to talk about. We need to concentrate on our performance and what we need to do to meet this challenge. That's what we've ever done, and that's what we'll be doing in this.
Last one for me. You could have been in the Ireland
Yeah.
system. You could have played for Ireland. You could have been their manager.
Oh, I'm not sure about their manager, but they've got a good one in Martin at the minute. But yeah, my dad obviously was born and bred in Dublin. Dublin boy. He moved to Swansea, I think, when he was 20. So it could have gone either way there. But I was born in Swansea. I was never gonna. My mother's side of the family, my mother's father's American, so I had an opportunity there as well. But born in Swansea, born in Wales, I was never.
And you're burying your Irish roots for the next few weeks.
What Irish roots?
Any more questions from television, radio?
Chris, Tom Lawrence is sort of first on to the scene in the last few months. You must be extremely happy with his progress he's making at Ipswich.
Yeah, I think I like. I speak with Ross Roberts and Kit Simons and Paul Trollope, who was with us. And when Tom burst on the scene a few years ago with us, he's going to be a good player, this boy. He'd been at Manchester United, gone to Leicester, didn't quite work out. He'd been out on loan. And then Mick McCarthy's taken him to Ipswich and really given him good guidance with Terry Connor, his assistant. And he's really blossomed, you know. But he's been playing well for us for some time, you know. He comes in with the squads. You can see he's a gifted boy. And I think he's really relished the opportunity Mick's given him at Ipswich. And he's produced the goods. And again, he's deserved his place with us. And he was so unlucky in the tournament, in the Euros. He got injured at the wrong time. You know, and he missed out in it, unfortunately. But yeah, he's a good player. I'm not surprised he's doing what he's doing at Ipswich. You know, we've seen that for some years since he's been in the fold with us. So he's no surprise to us. He's just fulfilling. And he's doing the things that we thought he would be capable of. And that's obviously good for Ipswich, and it's good for Tom, good for us.
Mick McCarthy's doing a good job for us, actually, at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. You know, the Championship is a tough league. It's such a hard league, and especially if you look at Ipswich and some of the teams they have to compete with, and the budgets they have to compete with, and the squads they have to compete with. You know, for Ipswich to be where they are, you know, he's done a good job, Mick, and he's got great experience in the Championship as well. He's got clubs out of the Championship. If you look how long he's been a manager. He's been an international manager and a successful one. So yeah, I think that he's done very well there, Mick.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm from Japan.
Hi, how are you doing?
I speak Welsh. I don't speak English well. So
You speak Welsh? All right.
昨年ユーロベスト4という成績を残したと思いますが、日本でも大きな話題になりました。今回ロシアワールドカップに向けて自信ということはいかがですか？
Well, it's given us big impact in Japan as well, and we'd love to see you in Russia as well. But question is, how much are you confident to go through a tough European qualification?
I think as I mentioned earlier, we're in a tough group from Wales, Republic of Ireland, Serbia, Austria. As soon as those 4 teams are called out of the hat, everybody thinks one of those teams will qualify. So it's hard. We're in one of the toughest groups, but I think we're one of the better teams in the group. I think we're very capable of producing what we need to produce to go to Russia. We're 4 points behind the Republic of Ireland, but we're not halfway through the group yet. There's a lot of football to be played. And I'm very confident with my players that if we can get our best team consistently, then we'll be there. We'll be very close, there or thereabouts, in certainly making it difficult for other teams to qualify in and around us if we can't finish in the first spot. Then we can go for the second spot. You're not guaranteed, even if you're second, you need to be a good return of points and goals. But we're capable of one or two. Problem for us, Republic of Ireland are capable, Austria are capable, Serbia are capable. Georgia are a good team, you know, and it's always tough for Moldova, but they're not going to lie down for anybody. So the group we're in is a tough one. But we are capable of producing something special to go to Russia for sure.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
I think we've got a bunch of students with BBC. Do you want to ask a question?
Hi.
You're taking part in the BBC School Report today with Radio Wales. We've got a question for you.
No problem.
Has anything in your preparation changed leading up to the qualifiers?
Has it changed in this campaign as to the last campaign, or? Our outlook's the same, and our message to the players is the same. We've worked hard to create an identity, and we stick to that. You're not always. I never ever talk about winning to the players. I never mention the word win ever. I only talk about performing, and our identity. So that hasn't changed. I think people's perception of us has changed, but us as a group, we've not changed. We're learning to deal with how people perceive us, and we're trying to learn to live with a different type of pressure. But the message from within the group and within the camp is always the same. Don't miss the 90 minutes. Don't come off with a regret that you could have done a bit more, and concentrate on the performance. And it's always been like that.
Are you looking forward to the World Cup game next Friday against Ireland? Do you think it's a must-win game?
I think certain people call it a must-win game. If you're playing for Wales, every game you play is must-win. But I never mention that word win. You have to concentrate on your performance, and then the win normally, if it's a good performance, the win follows it a lot of times. Am I looking forward to it? I can't wait. It's going to be a fantastic game. Pressure's on both teams, both managers. But we haven't been together since before Christmas, so I'm really looking forward to getting back into it. The Aviva Stadium's a fantastic place to play football. It's going to be a full house. We'll be taking a big travelling support to Dublin. So, yeah, and these are the games, like I said earlier, you want to be involved in the big games for positive reasons, which we are. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you.
You should have asked the questions instead of Rob, actually. Thank you.
You're a bit taller than Rob, actually.
Thanks. We'll do about 20 minutes of the written test now. Thank you. Yeah, well,